Yo guys, what if I tell you that the Butcher Gang teased throughout Bendy and the Dark Revival teasers will hold more to the game's story than you can ever imagine? Trust me, just think about it. Oh, I did say it was bigger than you can imagine. Well, say no more. I got you on that one in this video. Yo, what's up guys, it's James here and welcome back to another video. Today, we're taking a look at the Butcher Gang and how they are bigger than we can ever think for the second game of the Bendy franchise, Bendy and the Dark Revival. Let's get it! Now the Butcher Gang are a trio we see in Bendy and the Ink Machine and the cartoons. We have Charlie, Barley, and Edgar, who are uncommon enemies we encounter throughout the game. But funny thing is, besides their personalities in the cartoons, we don't know much about them. They are the most mysterious characters in Bendy that we know so far. We don't know how they were made, origins, etc. The only thing we can connect to them is Alice Angel. The Butcher Gang and Bendy and the Ink Machine look like they were tortured, dismembered, and, well, butchered. Oh, and crippled too. And the only person who does that is Alice Angel. Not only she was able to do it with Boris, but she was literally doing it in front of us in Chapter 3 of Bendy and the Ink Machine. Girl has no courtesy with one of the members. So again, the only thing we can connect to the Butcher Gang is Alice. We have so little info about the the Butcher Gang. So how can we apply it to Bendy and the Dark Revival? A whole new game with whole new possibilities and a new story. It's either there isn't enough to go by or too much possibilities to add. So how are we going to apply this info of the Butcher Gang to Bendy and the Dark Revival? Well, I got you on that one. Again, the Butcher Gang were enemies in Bendy and the Ink Machine, so they would still be enemies now in Bendy and the Dark Revival. But they would be bigger, more prominent enemies in Bendy and the Dark Revival. If you notice, there were 3 things we've seen from Bendy and the Dark Revival with the Butcher Gang in it. The Bendy and the Dark Revival gameplay trailer, and the 2 teaser screenshots from the game. These 3 things are the very few things we've gotten for anything in-game for Bendy and the Dark Revival, so they are really important. And seeing that these were uploaded before the Why Bendy and the Dark Revival was taking so long video, these must have been teasers teasing the first chapter of Bendy and the Dark Revival, and seeing that we only got a few screenshots that shows the Butcher Gang, that would mean that they would be very significant to the first chapter of Bendy and the Dark Revival. So them as common enemies in Bendy and the Dark Revival won't cut it, no pun intended. Sorry Charlie. Or at least the first chapter, they would be very significant. Speaking of which, since the Butcher Gang are very significant in the first chapter, we might learn about them, like their origins, creation, etc. You see, learning about the Butcher Gang in this chapter could set up everything for the rest of the Bendy and the Dark Revival story. You see, back in Bendy and the Ink Machine, the second final audio log in Chapter 5, Thomas Connor mentions, several near successes. I'm assuming some of them are the Butcher Gang, because after all, they look like almost perfect living cartoons. And we might see other near successes like them that we've never seen before in the studio, like the classic Dapper Bendy we see in the Bendy and the Dark Revival merch. If you notice, he looks almost perfect besides the ink dripping from his face. So with the Butcher Gang being a prominent figure in Chapter 1, causing us to know about their creation and all, can give us insight and foreshadow on other cartoon creations throughout this game. I'm pretty sure the Butcher Gang will be uncommon enemies, like in Bendy and the Ink Machine, maybe even mini-bosses of the sort, each having their own variety of weapons, movements, and even different stats and abilities. In Bendy and the Ink Machine, the Butcher Gang weren't really unique when it comes to their combat or combating them. They were pretty much searchers 90% of the time. But you see on Twitter, one of the developers of Bendy, Mike Mood, tweeted about a leap attack for Bendy and the Dark Revival, and in a thread, someone mentions, quote, "We'll have more advanced combat instead of getting a hidden and running?" Which, wait, did I just get rickrolled my own video? They responded with, "Judging from the trailers, the combat system is different," which is true. The combat looked a bit different. The closest I could get to a comparison is, you guessed it, BioShock, the game that inspired Bendy. And with that, Mike confirms his tweet with, quote, "Totally." Since it is true, then we can assume that the Butcher Gang will not only be uncommon enemies, or even mini-bosses, but we can also confirm that they each have their own abilities, weapons, and attacks which make them more of a threat than before. Wow. In the first chapter of the game, and we're already about to get beat into a pulp by some. The Butcher Gang might be game-changing to the whole entire Bendy and the Dark Revival game in general. In the Bendy and the Dark Revival gameplay trailer, we see the main protagonist of the game, Audrey, absolutely obliterates this Butcher Gang member. And when you go to the beginning of the trailer and look at her hands compared to after she vaporized Charlie, her hands have more ink. But why did she vaporize this poor, annoying, really terrible, small, idiotic, irritating? Sorry, it's just that the Butcher Gang are impossible and annoying to be enforced in Dark Survival. So my hate for them is way bigger than before. Hostile cartoon creature instead of beating the shit out of him with that pipe that she's holding. Before we get to it, let's take a look at FNAF. I'm kidding. BioShock. Once again, you see, in BioShock, there was these little girls called Little Sisters, and they had this thing in them called Atom, which is used to help you gain more power and upgrade your superpowers, or plasmids. Atom is very detrimental to take down enemies, tackle puzzles, and maneuver through the underwater city called Rapture without getting killed. And with the Little Sisters containing Atom, you were given a choice: to save the Little Sisters, giving you so little Atom, or to harvest them, to gain a lot of Atom. But you see, harvesting these Little Sisters can cause you to get the bad ending in exchange for more power, and vice versa with saving them. And I think the Butcher Gangs hold that property in Bendy and the Dark Revival, allowing us to harvest them to gain more power or save them in a way. And if you want to know, Audrey just harvested this Butcher Gang member. Though it does look like she saved them because of the golden glow, I'm sure that was the result of her powers, since after all, ink isn't a good thing in Bendy, and by harvesting them, she gained more of it, which shows that she chose the bad side of the situation. Watch out, boys and girls, it's hunting season for the Butcher Gang! That's it for this video. We still don't know much about the Butcher Gang for Bendy and the Dark Revival, but I hope this video gave you insight on such. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and subscribe, cause check it out! We're almost at 1,000 in 3 months, and you guys did it! And we can do it again to get to 1,000, so subscribe! This is I Just Games, and I am out.